This is the Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo.
Hello and welcome to the latest Blood Red podcast from the Liverpool Echo. I'm Matt Addison, and on today's special episode of the podcast, I have alongside me German football reporter and Sport Bild head of football, Christian Falk. Christian, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
Servus to England. I'm fine. I'm with the German national team in Stuttgart this time, and we have a lot of interesting players and stories here, so a lot to do and a lot of...
Absolutely. We're recording this podcast on Thursday, just ahead of Germany playing Spain this evening, and we'll be talking about players from both sides across the course of the podcast. Christian's obviously a man that a lot of Liverpool fans will be keeping an eye on for updates on transfers and stuff like that. I'm sure Thiago is the biggest of those names, but we're going to talk about him and a few other Bundesliga players and take a look at Jurgen Klopp as well during the show. But we will start with Thiago Alcantara, obviously the Bayern Munich midfielder. Liverpool have always said this summer that he's not currently an active target, and it's our understanding that no talks have taken place yet. But that's not quite what the German media, yourself included, have been reporting for a little bit of time now. So at this stage, what's your understanding of the situation as it stands?
So I can say that's not true. There's still talks, but that's not so concrete at the moment in the negotiations. Indeed, the Bayern Munich bosses, which are on holiday at the moment, are still waiting for a concrete offer. They know there should be one. They expected it already a few days ago. I can imagine that Liverpool is still waiting because you know best that there's something with Ronaldo and Barcelona. Perhaps they need the money to make a bid for Thiago. Thiago himself said already goodbye after the triple on the big party. He said goodbye to the employers of Bayern Munich at the Monday party, which took place in Munich. So it will be very hard for him to go to training at Sevenstrasse again next week. So we are still waiting that he will get the offer. We know that Jurgen Klopp is very, very keen on him. But we all know also as well that he was very, very keen on Timo Werner and didn't get him because of money. So we all have to wait. Also Thiago.
Why do you think there's such a difference between what the English press, our reporters included, have been reporting, and then what's sort of coming out of Germany? Because it's two very different stories, really, that are running alongside each other.
Yeah, sure, but we are talking with a German club and you're talking with the English club, and different interests, of course, and the interest is money. And Liverpool, when they say, oh, yes, we want Thiago, you know, he's cost 10 million more. So they're waiting, and at the moment they would say they would like to have Thiago, and at the end they don't get him because Bayern Munich wants about 30 million euros, and they don't know yet if they sell him cheaper. You also know that the prices for such players are not the same like last year. So I think a little bit the thoughts of the CEO is why shouldn't we sell Ronaldo for a fee which is much lower than we have to pay for Thiago. So it's really, really difficult in these times to spend the money. Even for English teams, I see now, normally the Germans are which can't pay the price. So, but in the case of Thiago, it would be really, really difficult to explain him why he quit at Bayern Munich and didn't sign his new 4 years contract, which would have for safe, and say, oh, Thiago, we can't pay you. You have to stay in Munich. That would be really, really hard for him.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned there the 30 million euro price tag that's on Thiago's head. I mean, how long is it, do you think, that might get reduced? Because at the moment, nobody seems willing to pay that money.
Yeah, we have the same case with Havertz. We will talk about him as well. But it's often when they talk how they can get this price. You know, we are talking about ads-on and bids, and I think Liverpool is a team now who can win a lot of titles. So it's easier to say if you get the Premiership, we can earn 5 million euros more next year. So I think this will be part of the talks. But at the end, at the first thing is they have to end a concrete offer so they can start. And I think they're still waiting, like I told you, how much money Liverpool is earning. And I think it's a very good way. It's the same way of Bayern Munich, because Bayern Munich is just spending the money which they have earned before. It's the same case of Thiago. We're still asking the club, oh, who would you like to buy if Thiago is leaving, or also a backup on the right side? But they are still at the point to say, we just need the money, and then we can think about how to spend it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, are Bayern actively looking to sell Thiago this summer because they don't want to lose him on a free transfer? Is that the situation?
Yes, it is. You know, they at the beginning of the talks, they would like that Thiago stays at Bayern Munich, because the first offer was about a 3 years contract plus 1 year more. And Thiago said, no, he wants 4 years. This is very, very important for him. So Bayern Munich reduced step-by-step matches, which he needs in the third year to get the next year. But at the end, they said, okay, you're so important for us. We give you a straight 4 years contract. And at this moment, Thiago said that was just to sign. The money was okay, everything was okay. But he said, oh, I have to return to my wife and ask her again if we would like really, really to stay here. So you saw that I think he had always in his head to leave Germany after the time. You know, he's staying for a long, long time. He was coming with Pep in 2013, so he would like to do the next step. And a long, long time he didn't say which club it will be. Also in the club, but the rumors from the dressing room were very, very early Liverpool, and the next rumors on the board was Premier League. So because there's a little bit difference is that the board expecting not only an offer from Liverpool, but they think because there were talks with the player, it could be. But at least, and we talk about Havertz again and Werner again, if the club doesn't paying the fee, perhaps there's a lucky third party which joins in and say, hey, we have the money and we are also a Premier League club, and perhaps we are very, very near to Liverpool. So you can take the same house you already saw. But we have to wait. And like I always to say, it's a question of money.
Yes, Manchester United, I think that club that you were hinting at there a little bit, there has been a few transfer stories about United being in there, but how genuine do you think they are? Do you think they are really interested in him, or do you think that's maybe just a way of making Liverpool make a move a little bit quicker?
Yeah, I heard very early that the board from Bayern Munich said that they heard about an interest, which was just an interest. We have to be a little bit careful about that. There were no notations or talks, but you know, there's a very, very close relation, perhaps a friendship between the clubs. So many talks on the telephone, so they know what they think about Thiago and United. But you know, if a player says my first option is Liverpool, it's difficult to do something for United at the moment. But you already mentioned there are so many rumors about United. I always looking at that and say, oh, again and again. People are asking me about Upamecano, and I said, no, not this year. But they want Upamecano. Yes, they wanted him, but they will get him this year, and they're asking again. So we have to see what will happen with Liverpool. But United, there is a little interest in Thiago, but they know they're very, very late. So how you say in keeping your face, or you save your face if you...
Yes, yeah. For Manchester United side, yes, yeah. They don't want to be turned down.
You know, they won't lose their face if they say now, oh, we're also interested, and then he's going to Liverpool. But I think United is an option, but not the first one at the moment.
No, I mean, in terms of Thiago, do you think he has his heart set on Liverpool? And if that is the case, then could Liverpool not just wait another few months and get him for free if Liverpool is the only team that he wants? Maybe there's a little bit of a thing in that, perhaps. You know,
Thiago is a very proud person. So if anyone of a club gave him a promise, I think he wouldn't be so happy if they don't hold their words. He was also very, very close to Pep when he get into Bayern Munich, when Pep said Thiago or nothing, and this was very, very important for him. That's why Bayern Munich got him for a very low fee. It was 25 euros at this time. Was not much money for such a player. So, but now he's not so close anymore to Pep, so he's now a little bit closer to Klopp. I think if they say no, and he has to stay at Bayern Munich, and he said goodbye to everybody, that would be a reason for him to say no to Liverpool also, but you never know.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just in terms of Thiago, I'm sure people will have seen plenty of him, particularly in the latter stages of the Champions League. But what sort of a player would Liverpool be getting? I mean, how high do you rate him compared to other midfielders around Europe?
When you come into Munich 7 years ago, I would say he's not a Premier League player because, at the ball, he's brilliant. I talked to Frank Ribéry, which was the technical best player in his career he played with, and he said it was Thiago. So he has everything on the ball, but at the beginning he was a Barcelona player, a little bit tiki-taka, and not a German defense player, and he's playing midfield. So you need that in Germany and much more in Premier League. And in this time he educated to a new player, and now he is also very, very good in defense. So you have a really, really complete player. So, and I think this is the puzzle Liverpool is searching for, because he has everything to make the game quick of Liverpool, but he has also the qualities to hold the ball and also to stay on his feet in the Premier League when the other players attacking him, because he's incredibly good at having the ball. So I think he's the perfect link between defense and offensive, and that's why I think he would be a really, really important player for Liverpool. But I think it's also a next step for him to see that there are leagues which are a little bit tougher than Bundesliga.
Do you think he would view it as a step up to go, not necessarily from Bayern to Liverpool, but more Bundesliga to Premier League?
When you played for Barcelona and you have played for Bayern Munich, there are not so many targets which you can reach in your career. And now, after winning the treble, it's a perfect point for him to have a new challenge. And you have to see that Thiago was a very, very important player for the team on the pitch, but he never was seen as like Messi is seen in Barcelona, because he's a player which is not making the German style on the pitch. We're talking a lot about Kimmich, we're talking about Müller, so this is a little bit the German view, of course. That's true. Yeah, but okay, when you're an English player in your team, and he's making a lot of interviews and he's always there, so you're always looking a little bit more perhaps on your national players when they play in your own league. And I think he's searching now a club where he's the face of the club. And at Liverpool you have really, really fantastic player, we all know, but he will be the next superstar coming in this team, which is for a long, long time together. So I think he is looking a little bit more to be in the focus, and he has a role in a team to be this guy. So perhaps he can do it at Liverpool.
Potentially. Let's see if he's in the Premier League next season or not. But certainly, one player that we know will be, and that Liverpool were interested in, is Timo Werner. I'd like to ask you a little bit about him and Kai Havertz as well, potentially ending at Chelsea as well. I mean, first of all, in terms of Timo Werner, how good a player have Liverpool missed out on there with his move from Leipzig to London?
I think he would be perfect in the system. Fits better than Bayern Munich, which was a year ago interested but said no at least. So I think for Havertz, it's a really, really big chance to play for Chelsea, because we know about the talks Werner and Klopp had already at Easter. The idea was to bring him step by step in the team, and at this time there was no Corona, so they expected there will be an Africa Cup and your players are away again, and then he has a chance to go on, because Werner is not a player who come to a team and says, here I am, let me play, I'm the superstar. He's a really quiet guy who wants to play just football and is willing to learn. So that was a nice idea for him, because there's a really big pressure to go to a club like Liverpool, but it would have been okay for him to play not every match. But now it's a new situation. I think it's a very good situation for him, because he's a young player. Now he's at Chelsea. He will be one of the important players, and he don't have to win the Premier League first year. I know Abramovich would like that, but the pressure is not so high, and he can find a role in this team. And I heard there are many discussions. Now he made it the first match already and scored, and he played middle, but he saw now the team, and I think he has on his mind perhaps to play also on the wings now. But because at the first talks there was a clear plan that he plays there in the center, but you see now he has the chance to play here, he plays there, because he's important and he will play. And for our national team, it's perfect that he get these chances and can educate there. So it's a big chance for Chelsea. They have now young players which can improve and getting better every season. So very interesting project.
Definitely. I mean, we saw all of the interviews earlier in the year where Timo Werner would praise Jurgen Klopp, he would praise Liverpool. Do you think if Liverpool had been able to make an offer, he would have picked Liverpool over Chelsea?
Sure, it was the first choice. That's no secret. But it's not to insult any Chelsea fans or the club Chelsea. But, you know, they were the first club from the Premier League where it was concrete interesting. Also the year before they talked. But because of many reasons, it wasn't possible. Also because at this time, Werner thought about the next step in the Bundesliga to Bayern Munich, because it's easier if you can speak the language there. And Bayern Munich is for every German player next big step, because you have many national players there. So you are also, it's easier for you to make it in the national team. But then it was very concrete with Liverpool. And he had also a list of many clubs which are interested, but Liverpool was first. Liverpool was more concrete at the moment. But the talks with Chelsea were very good. United knocked on the door as well. But so you see, it wasn't a no to Liverpool, and it was a yes to Chelsea.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just in terms of Kai Havertz then, obviously it looks like he is going to be a Chelsea player as well. How much of a game changer do you think he is for Chelsea? Could he maybe bridge that gap between Chelsea and Liverpool because of how good he is?
Yeah, you have to give him a little bit time. But I think if you had a talk yesterday, the player of the national team, which won everything in his life, and it's Toni Kroos, and he said he has everything you need on this position, but you have to show it on a high level now. And at Leverkusen, he hadn't a chance to show it on a high level, because it's not a club which wins title every year, or they don't have the pressure there. They play sometimes in Champions League and sometimes not. So, but for Havertz now, he has to show it on a very high level. And it's the same like Werner. It's very good for him to show it at this young new team, to have a player like Kanté behind. And if he would join Barcelona or Real Madrid, was the first idea before Corona, I think it wouldn't be such a good step for him, because there he couldn't play at every match. And now he's at the beginning, the idea of the key player is already there. And he has the time to show that he is a key player. But for being a key player, you have to make many games. He has a new team. But I don't know if you watched the Bundesliga. I was very impressed when, after the Corona break, Volland, the striker of Leverkusen, who joined now Monaco. was not fit. He had an injury, and Kai Havertz had to play as a striker. And it's not his position, but in nearly every match after the Corona break, he made the 1-0, and he played it very, very good, this role. And you see that he can be a game changer. But you have to give him time.
Yes, absolutely. I'm really interested to see how he gets on, actually, because as you say, when the Bundesliga resumed, I think everyone in England, obviously the Premier League wasn't back at that time, everyone was watching, and he was one who really did stand out. And I suppose another one that stood out, another young player, is Jaden Sancho, of course, a player that in England people were aware of before he moved to Germany, but certainly he's gone to another level since then. He's a player that we know Jurgen Klopp likes, but he's been heavily linked with Manchester United this summer. It's clear that they like him as well, but that deal hasn't quite happened yet. Do you think there's still time for Manchester United to get a deal for Sancho done this summer?
If you can see how much money they have on the bank account, I can give you a clear answer. But we know that there is agreement between the player and the club, United, so he would like to do this step. But Dortmund made it very well. You read it already that they made a new contract with him, and nobody knew it before. So he has 1 year more. So Dortmund is in a very, very comfortable situation, because next year we don't know if still Corona prices or the crazy football prices again we had before. So they can wait, and they don't need to sell him. They don't need the money, but they made a promise to the player, and they said we have a 120 million euros line. If someone bring it in, you can go there. If they don't bring it in, we are happy if you win with us the German championship after many, many years of Bayern Munich. So I think it's a problem of United. They thought, I think, that it's easier to get him, and that the club is going down with the fee. But Dortmund is trying now. Don't be a sell up like the last years when they lose Dembele and they have lost Aubameyang. I think you saw a little bit of his qualities in the Premier League. So that was really hard of a team which would like to win the championship in Germany, to lose always the key players. And now they say, now we didn't, the money we got from these players, we invest very well, but then we have to wait again till the talents are big, like Sancho. And they have Bellingham, and he's doing very, very well in the training. We heard they are very impressed how far he is in his education, his development. But you never know when Bundesliga is thinking if you can bring it immediately on the pitch. At Sancho, they know what they have, and if you lose Sancho now again, it's also a sign to Haaland, and we know that United is also interested in him. But if you can't keep a team together, it's not good for the moment when talents will leave the club again. And they brought players back to Germany like Emre Can, which have big targets, and they make promises to players too, and say, hey, no, we're building a team now. So they don't have to sell him if they don't want.
No, absolutely not. And if United don't get him this summer and he does stay for another season, you'd imagine next summer, hopefully COVID-19 isn't still around. Hopefully there's a little bit more normality, and probably a lot of other clubs then would be in the queue as well.
I think it's a little bit different, the situation. I think that he's really, really keen of going to United. But you never know. This year it was also very, very close to get into the Champions League. So at Dortmund, he playing Champions League every year. And if everything is normal and he is guaranteed to play Champions League also next year in United, I think it will be still United. But they have to do it before, because you have many, many good teams which would like to have this Champions League place in your league. So what I already know is that if United doesn't do it this year, we have a lot of good stories again next year.
Yes, absolutely. And I suppose just a final question on Jaden Sancho is, that 120 million euro price tag. To me, that seems like an absolute bargain, even though that sounds strange to say it because it's such a big amount. But for his age, the numbers that he produces with goals and assists, I mean, he's so highly rated. I'm surprised that United haven't spent that money on him yet.
It's the Corona times are really, really crazy, and it's a lot of money which they don't earn with supporters in the stadium, and so I can really believe that it's hard to get this for such a player. I think a year ago or 6 months ago it wouldn't be a problem, but now I think also United has problems to spend the money. There are many people which are looking at the account and say, oh, we lose here money, we lose their money. And you don't have to forget that if you buy this player, you give him a 5 years contract, and then you have to pay his salary for 5 years. So normally he earns in 5 years the same amount of money like you pay as a transfer fee. So it's a really huge package, and you have to bring it. And if you say, oh, let's wait 1 year more, then we know that we have the money safe. It's easier to do that. I think at this time, 120 million euros is a price like we thought about Neymar a few years ago when there was paid 222 million euros. So it's not easy even for United to spend this money.
No, and I suppose another player at Borussia Dortmund that Liverpool fans will know really well is Emre Can as well. Left the Reds in 2018. He's still only 26, even though he seems to have been around forever. It didn't quite work for him at Juventus, but how would you summarise his time now back with Dortmund in Germany? How is he getting on?
Yeah, Emre, as you already said, always when you meet him, I said, hey, I know you so many years, you're still so young. How do you make it? And he's such a huge, big guy, like a beer, and as a great person. And because he plays so many years football, he has so many experience, and this is why he is so important for Dortmund now. He was already most people don't recognize. He was in the travel team of Bayern Munich in 2013. Didn't play, but he was in training, and you learn a lot when you are playing with such champions. And this is the point I already mentioned before. They got him not only because he's a good player, and he is a good player, but he signed him because of his mentality. In Germany, you say if you sign a contract at Bayern Munich, you sign, it's like they take bite and give you the winning mentality in your blood. And he has it, It's true that it didn't work so well with him at Juventus, but it was also because of the new coach. Sarri wasn't his biggest fan of the world. So before, it worked very well, and he was close to Ronaldo, and a player like Ronaldo don't have such a relationship to players who they can't play football. So I think I would have liked to see him also doing at Liverpool, because he was the second captain, I remember, sometimes in the matches. So he had a very, very big role. And I know that Klopp was not so very happy that he left the club, because he had a big idea with him. But I think we will see him now in a big role in Germany. He's at a club which always can win titles now, and he's not one of 23 players. He's one of the key players. He has to get also now a new relationship with Favre, the manager, because he has sometimes ideas of football which doesn't fit together with the style of Emre. But if they want to win titles at Dortmund, they should let him play, because he knows how that works.
Do you think Liverpool might regret him leaving at some point if he does fulfill that potential at Borussia Dortmund? Might they think maybe we should have kept him and done more to keep him at Anfield?
No, because that wasn't the fault of Liverpool. I know that Liverpool did everything to extend his contract, but there was a point where they said we can't pay the amount of Juve. He was a player which had no contract anymore. So he earned a lot of money there, and I think at the point it's okay to say, okay, we tried everything, but I understand also why the other club is paying this amount when there's no contract, and they're paying also no fee and put this on the salary. So I think that we are again at the German way. Don't do it like the Germans, because we don't have so many things we are better, because you have more money in the TV, you have more viewers in the world. So don't copy the style of spending just the money we have. But in this case, it was the right decision.
Yes, absolutely. And just to finish off with the podcast, then I have to ask you about Jurgen Klopp himself. I mean, obviously, he's won the Champions League. He's now won the Premier League with Liverpool. What has the view been in Germany of the job that he's done at Liverpool?
First of all, I have to thank Jurgen, because I'm a big England fan, and it's so good for us to see that now that Germans can be funny. This is a very important point for us, and we love to see him there. And he's perfect for Liverpool, and what he's doing there, we already saw in Germany, because we know how good he is. He's not only, Pep is really a fantastic coach, and he's fantastic in tactic, and it's perfect in having philosophies of football. But the biggest heart in football is in the body of Jurgen Klopp. And it's so nice to see, like, he can send his emotions on a team, and we are really, really proud of what he's doing there. And I think that's also a good thing to imagine. When Pep was leaving Bayern Munich, I thought, okay, to the next step, perhaps he's improving a team like Arsenal, where you see, that's a kind of philosophy which fits to Pep. But he joined a city where there's a lot of money and he can buy players for his system. But Klopp, who would have been also coach of Real Madrid, said, no, Liverpool is a cool club. I like this club. I always saw this club, and there is the football. There's a home of football. And okay, the team is not so good at the moment, but I see what you can do with this club. And I think this is the big point, that he had a few years till the point he is now, but he was the guy who bring the club again at this position. He earned the club, and the club was there years ago, but not at the last, best. So this to see was really, really amazing, and that's why I think in Liverpool everybody is happy, and in Germany as well.
Yes, absolutely. And just a last question then on Jurgen Klopp. I mean, he's not going to go anywhere until at least 2024. That's when his contract runs out. What do you think comes next? There's been a lot of speculation about the German national team, for example. Do you think that would suit him?
I'm not sure if you can see on this contract till 2020 and 24. So I think he just signed that you don't ask him again, how long do you stay? And please sign a new contract. So he wants just to work. And it's good to have this paper, but don't believe in this in these numbers which are on, because I know that it's a big dream of him doing the job of the German national team. But we have a very, very good coach in Jogi Löw. He made us world champion. He will decide how long he worked there. But if he quits, you should be a little bit afraid.
Not the note that I would like to have ended the podcast on, but never mind. That is just about all we have time for on today's Blood Red podcast. But thank you very much for Christian for providing your insights, if I can say that properly.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. And so, Servus, we say in Bayern from Germany.
Yes, absolutely. Transfers always something that gets fans excited, and time will tell whether or not the Reds add any more to their roster than Kostas Tsimikas. Stay tuned to Blood Red, and we'll have all of the important updates as and when they come in. Make sure to drop Christian a follow on Twitter as well. His handle is @CFBayern. Until next time, though, from me, Matt Addison, on the Blood Red podcast, it's goodbye for now.